Morning, Kyra Cards for Engearment.com, here today in the beautiful San Juans at the Red Mountain Alpine Lodge. And I have something a little different to talk to you about today. Wonderful representative for PrimaLoft here, Ken, and I'd love to have him explain a bit of what PrimaLoft is, why it's so important, and why you should care about it. So, Ken, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Kai?
Oh, it's been an amazing week so far.
Yeah.
Loving being out here. So, PrimaLoft, what is it?
So, like at its core, PrimaLoft is high performance synthetic insulation made sustainably. We've been insulation experts since 1984 when the U.S. Army Research Laboratory approached our former parent company to develop a synthetic alternative to goose down insulation. So, as many of us know, goose down, awesome insulator. But when it gets exposed to moisture, it's going to lose a lot of those insulative properties. It's going to mat down. It's just not going to work out for you, which isn't great when you're like military personnel out in the field.
Or out
Or
here?
yes, yeah, obviously out here as well. So what we're looking for is a comparable amount of insulative properties, but able to withstand that exposure to moisture. So our company at the time, Albany International, patented the first synthetic microfiber for apparel, and that is ultimately what became PrimaLoft. And what that was able to do is provide those high levels of warmth, even in those wet conditions when you're exposed to moisture.
It's amazing stuff. If you couldn't tell, I'm wearing it everywhere. The gloves I'll be putting on for ice climbing later, they're PrimaLoft insulated. And that leads me into another point is when you think of synthetic insulation, you think of a synthetic down, right? Like something that is a replacement for down in more wet conditions. But it's so much more than that. The past week has been so wonderful to see how much more PrimaLoft is. So what else do you do other than just synthetic down?
So really it comes down to like all the different types of form factors that we can make with these synthetic fibers. Everything from like a batted insulation, so picture like the sheets of insulation you might see in a more kind of like an active piece, to loose fill insulations that mimic more the look and feel of down. I'm wearing a piece right now that features our Thermoplume Plus insulation. It's a new insulation coming out that came out this fall. And as you can see, it's got that similar style, that similar look and feel to down. Provides a great amount of warmth. I forgot to check the temperature right before it came out, but we're somewhere in the single digits out here, and I'm feeling nice and toasty. And then from everything from those like really super warm pieces down to like more active pieces, thinner pieces insulations, yes, that are able to be paired with breathable face and liner fabrics to create those breathable pieces that allow you to manage your moisture during those high output activities. You guys spend a lot of time in the backcountry skiing.
I can attest to how well it works.
Yeah, so we're looking to like really provide like a wide range of products that are adaptable to a wide range of use cases.
And it really is a wide range of things. I've been wearing PrimaLoft all of this trip. We've been out skiing. We've been just being out in the cold. We're about to go ice climbing. And it wicks moisture, keeps you warm. The degree of efficacy that it possesses is so fantastic. But why is PrimaLoft a little different than other things? Like obviously you've heard of names like Black Diamond, like Rab. Why do not as many people know about PrimaLoft, and why should they?
I mean, really, when it comes down to comparing brands like Black Diamond, Rab, any of your core outdoor brands that you're buying your garments from, we are what most people refer to as an ingredient brand. So we're, especially when you're talking about insulation, we're inside the jacket, we're inside your pants, we're inside your sleeping bag. So you're not going to visually see us, but you're going to feel the performance that we provide. And that's really kind of what we're about. We're providing that higher performance product that allows our brand partners like your Black Diamonds, like your Rabs, to create the types of pieces that they need to create for their users.
What I'm hearing is you need to go keep your eyes out for those little PrimaLoft tags that you see on your gear and get those pieces.
Exactly, little PrimaLoft shields. One of my coworkers has been saying, like, ever since she joined the company, it's the brand that you don't know that you know. Like a lot of people, when they first hear about PrimaLoft, like, oh, maybe I kind of recognize that. They'll go in their closet, they'll look around at some of their gear, and like, oh, there's a tag. There's a tag over here.
And the likelihood is if you spend time outside or just like warmer clothing, you have a piece that has PrimaLoft in it. You know it works well. You just don't know why yet. So you talked a bit about where you started. But you also mentioned a piece about, trying to be sustainable as well, which is incredibly important right now. I mean, obviously, places like this, we want to keep them to places like this. So, what does PrimaLoft do to maintain that mission of sustainability?
Yeah, absolutely. Since the very beginning of the company, we made these what we're like the core of what we do is we make hydrophobic fibers that are super fine. And from the beginning, we've made those using like a fluorocarbon free process. So we've never been using like PFAS or anything like that. But we've also have like a long heritage of sustainability, starting with using recycled content. We first introduced recycled content in some of our pieces back in like 2007 officially, and then in 2015 we kind of just had like a breakthrough that allowed us to kind of permeate that recycled material throughout almost the entirety of our product line. At this point, 70% of our products use 100% recycled material.
Wow,
That other 30%, most of those pieces are like close to 100% recycled with just like a little bit of special sauce here and there. We're also always trying to improve that and get to the point where like, you know, we want pretty much everything we use to be recycled. That's recycled is pretty much table stakes right now for us and really throughout the industry.
that's
Uh,
fantastic.
but then some of the newer things we've been working on over the past 5+ years, um, reducing our emissions in the manufacturing process. We've introduced a manufacturing technology called PrimaLoft Pure. Pure stands for produced using reduced emissions. So basically, what we've been able to do is work with our factory partners to take what traditionally has been a really like fossil fuel heavy process to manufacture synthetic insulation and almost completely remove that need for fossil fuels using things like solar power, more efficient electricity powered equipment as opposed to fossil fuel powered equipment. And the result is that with this technology, are reducing our emissions in the manufacturing process by 50% or greater, depending on like the specific product that we're making. So that's currently used. That technology is currently used across somewhere half a dozen products. But in the next couple of years, we're looking to really ramp that up and kind of move that manufacturing process out through much more of our portfolio.
Those are some ridiculous numbers. And you mentioned five or so products. How many products does PrimaLoft have?
It changes year to year. We're somewhere in the range of, depending on how you want to break down the SKUs, we'll say 50 plus
Wow.
products across the board.
Just all
Uh,
different types of insulation for different activities and uses.
exactly, like we were saying before, everything from like a super puffy coat that's going to keep you warm when you're like belaying, all the way through to like we were saying before, these high output activities with the lighter weight that's going to provide that breathability, but also a certain level of warmth for you.
That's amazing. And going back to the idea of a parent company or material company, just how many brands do you work with? Just how many people are using your technology?
So again, that fluctuates year to year, but we're at almost 1,000 brands, between like 950 and 1,000 brands that we work with globally. So yeah, we're pretty much everywhere.
That's amazing. And that's why we think you should be paying a bit more attention to what's inside your gear, just so you know you're getting the absolute best. Well, Ken, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure being out here getting to know what's inside the gear I use.
Yeah, it's
Thank
been
you.
great having you. Thank you.